Hi, good morning to everyone. Okay, we'll start the session. So in our last session, we could not able to do the session properly. So we are not able to get the advanced concepts of reporting. So what we'll do is first we will run through what we have discussed in a previous class also one more time, and then we will discuss the other advanced topics of the reporting later on. And in our last class, we are trying to work on the rolling forecasting template where the user inputs the month and the category which he want to work on. Based on the month he is inputting, all the previous months should become actual, and then based on the current month, the rest should become either forecast or plan, where he is allowed to do the planning. And we have discussed about what is forecasting, planning and actual data in our previous class. Now we will see how to achieve that rolling forecast template using the Excel formulas in combination with BPC formulas. First is, when we are talking about the time and category is our basis for doing the rolling forecast template. In our template creation, we should take care time and category as our column members, because based on the time and category only our template is working. Those should be part of our columns axis. Okay, and for the selection criteria from the user point of view will be category as well as time. So we want to know what category and time he is selecting from the context. For that we have a EPM formula, EPM context member. This is the EPM formula which we use to bring the whatever is the selected. To bring that value here, we'll use EPM context member. And what is the dimension name we want? We want category. See, in our, if you see here, what we have selected here, category plan. Automatically it is bringing the category value which is there in the context. That is called EPM context member. So press OK. Now if you try to change this to say actual, now refresh. See, automatically your formula will bring the latest value from the context. Since user is changing from the context and we are hiding these columns from the end user, so we want to take the value which is taken from the context. That is why we used EPM context member formula. I'll again change to plan. So from the user point of view, he is changing the category, and then the next change he is going to make is month, because based on the month only the previous months will become actual and the current month will become the forecast or plan, whatever is the user selection. So I'll take month also into consideration. EPM context member, go to FX. What dimension I want? I want time dimension. Press OK. See my time dimension, what I have selected, 2013.06. That is why it is showing 2013.06. And here I want to use some Excel formulas in order to bring the values here. And I have a property called EPM member. What is the member I want? This. And what is the property name I want? Month number. Month num. Give it in quotations. You can see the month number it is bringing is 6. and here you can use your Excel formulas. Replace the old text, that is the context starting from 5, 6 number of characters. You can keep any number of characters. Sometimes they will select total also. So that is why you can select maximum number of characters. New text, what do you want to have? 0, 1. Why we are taking 0, 1 is basically because anytime our year starts with 0, 1. Suppose if you have a calendar year starting from April to March, then you have to select 0 as your first month. So depending upon your requirement and calendar year, you can select what is the starting month from your planning process. If there is a sheet option recognized, deactivate the activate member recognition. Now I got the first month, and next month onwards I have a formula called EPM member offset. Member offset means what is the next number I want to take from the previous member. So I want to take from previous member, offset with 1. Then I will get the next month value. So I am using the Excel formula here in order to take the context member and replace it with the first month. And then I am using EPM member offset on the first member in order to generate the next month. So drag it till the 12 months. Say 12th month. Now I got the time period, which is automatically or dynamically taking from the context, that is 2013, and then replacing with the 01 first month, and then thereafter month wise it is taking from EPM member offset value. Similarly, I want to have the context member of whatever is there here, which is selected by the end user from the context. And here always the actual is constant, because whatever is the current month I am selecting, from that onwards the plan or forecast should start, and from previous months it should show actual. So actual is a constant value. I am directly typing the actual member here, and I can use the Excel formula if the selected month by the user, which is from the context, is greater than the month which is above. Then what it is? It is actual data. Otherwise it is user selection category, that is plan. Keep the formula and make your Excel formula constant values so that you can copy the value. A3 means the selected value. B3 is not B1 is not constant, because by each row, by each column it will pass on. Now see, actual, it is showing. Copy it till the 12th month. Now if you see here, I have taken this value from 6th month onwards, it is automatically showing plan. Why? Because as per our Excel formula, what we have taken, if this value, which is user selection value, is greater than the month which is there in the top, then actual data, because below that everything is actual. Then I am saying actual. Where actual is there? A5. That is why I am taking A5. And then A2 is the selection by the end user, that is plan. So if it is greater than this, then actual. If it is less than that, then it is plan. Like that I have put my Excel formula. So I got the values for time as well as category. And now my context, I am taking from the edit report these two values. But I want to replace my context value with my created value, which is coming from these Excel formulas in combination with BPC formulas. In order to replace the value which is taken from the edit report section, system will use EPM VOLAP member O. And if you see here, the open bracket means whatever I am choosing from the context, that value will be taken. That is the meaning of this open bracket. If I want to replace it with my value, I have to attach my value here in the bracket. I am putting whatever my value, and then I am removing these brackets because I don't want to take values from edit report section. Now press enter. So what I did, I replaced my value figure B1 here, and I removed the parentheses which is taking the edit report value. Now copy this value till the last month. Now see, automatically your context is replaced with the values which is there in your selection criteria as per your requirement. This is normal Excel formulas which we are doing. Similarly, for category also I want to replace my value instead of the edit report value. So to remove that edit report value, I have to remove this open parenthesis. Make sure that you are removing open parenthesis and comma properly. Now go here and end. Now if you see, the values are replaced with your bracket, and whatever is there after plan, category plan, that open bracket relates to edit report. This open bracket is taking the value from here. So you have to be careful. After category and plan, whatever is the open bracket, you have to remove that only. Now if you see here, automatically instead of edit report selection, whatever we have done, we are giving our values which we have computed in row 1 and 2 replaced with our edit report values. Now refresh. Now if you see here, the values are shown like this. These are actual figures and these are plan figures, since I am having some data in the system. Now this coloring and all we have discussed in the PM formatting sheet. We have add member property or value field. So here I went there and I have selected category and selected actual. Then it came like this, and I have given a formatting to this. That is why I am getting actual with data with this color and label with this color. If you see here, the label is this color and data is this color because of my formatting. I have done it for formatting on a specific member property. Now, if the user changes the time period from June to March, now if you see here, automatically the data is changing for actual and then plan, but data is not changing. Why? Because the refresh button. Now see, the plan data is showing instead of the actual data. Similarly, if he makes it to June, see, till May it is showing the actual figures, and from June onwards it is showing the plan figures. Suppose he is making till October. Here from June onwards there is no values for actual, that is why it is not showing. So like this, whatever is the selected month, till that month the data will be changed to actual, and whatever is the actual data already available in the system will be populated. And only the rest of the period you are allowed to do the planning or forecasting. Sometimes if you are not doing planning, you are doing the forecasting, then you go here and select member as forecast and refresh. Now see, I don't have any forecasted data for October, November and December. That is why it is showing blank. Like this, you can change the category, time period. Based on that, your template will automatically change to actual data and forecast data. Now till here it is okay, but what the problem is, the end user, and I can hide these columns, like press hide. Template till here it looks fine, but what is the problem is, the end user should not be allowed to edit the actual data and send the data to the database. For those purpose, and the columns are dynamically changing between actual and forecast. So in order to maintain the dynamic template where the columns are increasing and decreasing with respect to actual data and forecast data, what we have to do? You have to go to EPM formatting sheet. You have given a special formatting for actual data. Right click, press lock selected cells. Now come here. Now if you try to enter the data here, it is allowing you to post values both in plan as well as forecast. Now save data. System is allowing me to change the actual values also and post the actual values, which the end user should not want to change. So what we have to do? We have to go to EPM, right click. You have to use lock selected cells. Since it is in the locked status, we are getting unlock selected cells option. If it is in the unlocked status, we will get lock selected cells. I'll just press unlock selected cells. Then in the initial screen, you will get like this, lock selected cells. Press this one, come here, go to options, sheet options, protection, protect active workbook, and give whatever is the password you want to make. Press OK. Now refresh. Now I'll just try to go and change this value. See, it is showing the cell is protected, you are trying is protected, and it is only read only. Now you try to change this value. See, system is allowing me to change the forecasted data, not the actual data. Now you try to change any of the values in the actual data, it will show you the cell is protected. Now save data. Now till now it is good. But what happens if I am changing month to June? Then what it should do? From July onwards, from June onwards, it should allow me to enter the data. Now refresh. Previously in the 7th month I am not able to enter the data because actual category. Now it became forecasted category because I chosen June. Now you try to enter some data. Since it is forecast category, not actual category, you are allowed to enter the data. And if you try to modify actual data, it will show you error. So what happens is, when the rows or columns are dynamically expanding also, your locks also automatically expands based on the EPM formatting sheet lock option. This is very useful feature which was not there till 7.5. It was not that much easy. Now they made it very simple from the 10 system onwards. So this is called a rolling forecast template by using your Excel formulas along with the BPC formulas. What BPC formula we have used? We have used EPM context member and then EPM member offset. These are the two functions we have used, which is used generally in all the templates wherever we are doing the complex reporting. We will use these two features. You can say that in almost every template we will be generally having the requirement to use these kind of things. And On the right hand side, generally every client want to have who has logged in into this template. In order to unprotect this sheet, to go to sheet options, give the password, then protection, no protection. Then you are allowed to do any changes in the template. Now you want to see which user has logged in into this template. There is a formula called EPM user, open bracket and close bracket. System will automatically give the username. See, with username Krishna, I have logged in into this particular system. Now if you want to see, you can see here, I have logged in with username Krishna. So automatically system will show you the user which has logged in into this particular template. Generally clients want to keep this as a information on the right hand side, and sometimes they want to use EPM server details also. So for that, EPM server, open bracket and close bracket. It will show you which server you have logged in. You see here, this is the server details you have logged in. If you want to check, you can check it here. BPC-Srv.idas.com /8069. See, BPC-Srv.idas.com /8069/SAP/BPC. So these are the some of the important EPM formulas which regularly we will be using. Dinesh, we have discussed about how to log in into Excel and all in our not previous class. Before previous class, we discussed how to log in into Excel and all. Again, I will show you once I save this template. I will show you how to log in into Excel and all. Hemang is having a question: does SAP have pre-delivered templates? See, since this is a what you can call BPC is both planning as well as a reporting tool. So SAP has given some predefined templates which generally nobody uses in the implementation, because it's only pre-delivered templates, 1 or 2 templates which will not cater our requirements. So when it comes to reporting system which has the capabilities, SAP suggests you develop that systems based on the requirement of the client. Because unlike your ECC, where your reports are standard across the organizations, wherever there is a little changes you will be doing through report painter and all. But when it comes to analytical system, every client will have a different requirement. They want to see columns differently, rows differently. So SAP doesn't provide any pre-delivered templates with respect to BPC reporting. In RTS, for IFRS GAAP, they have given certain templates for US GAAP and IFRS GAAP. For notes and for what you call balance sheet and profit and loss account, based on the IFRS requirement, they have provided certain templates which you can modify and you can use it according to your requirement. But straight away you cannot put the values directly, but you have to modify and make sure your reporting requirement is also included in that. But high level structure only they have provided in the RDS, like IFRS starter kit and US starter kit, which is mainly meant for consolidations. For planning, there is no such RDS at present available, which you can use it as standard and you can create something. No, Hemang. See, RDS and all, it is depending upon the client. They have to pay the extra cost and they have to purchase the RDS and all. We are covering only the BPC related thing. RDS will just allow you to do implementation much faster. But we are not covering any RDS because each separate country will have a separate RDS. Like US, most people use US GAAP RDS. across the world, other places they will use IFRS starter kit. And the concept remains the same, but they are having the predefined template which you can alter according to the requirement of the client. For that, you need to first understand the BPC concept, then only you can edit your RDS in order to implement much quicker. That's the only thing they will provide in RDS. So this is with respect to the rolling forecast template. If you have any doubts, please let me know so that I'll clear those, and then I'll move on to the next topic. Okay. Then we'll discuss on the other important advanced template creation, how we'll use. I'm developing some report. Previously we discussed, suppose I am having a requirement like this. In account I am taking a balance sheet, member and descendants. Time I'm okay. I'm making this as input form and I'm using apply dynamic formatting. So like this, I have some template. Now here I am getting the values based on the edit report. If you remember, we have discussed in edit report we can use based on the property also instead of the values directly from here. So if I select based on property, filter by property values. So if I select, I want to display account type is equal to EXP, only expense values. Apply dynamic filter, press OK. Now here the user can able to see only the expense GL accounts that are there in the my master data. But the user requirement is such that it is dynamic. In this template, sometimes you want to see expense details, sometimes you want to see income details also. At that time, every time user will not go to the edit report and create the requirement and then do the editing and all. It will be cumbersome job because in the template we might be creating so many other formulas which will affect that particular template. So we can customize the template as per the requirement of the user by making this property selection also dynamic without depending upon the edit report. How to make that as a dynamic one based on the user selection? How can we adjust the row access and make it? In order to do that, we have certain EPM formulas given by the BPC system. So for that purpose, we need to have some EPM formulas working in the BPC system. Go to EPM, EPM member property value. EPM member property. Ganesh is having a question. For every report requirement, do we have a separate template creation? No. See, I mean to say, Ganesh, we have to look into the reporting requirements of the client, and we have to say that we can combine few of the reports directly doing in Excel right now if they are doing right now in based on one report based on the category, one report based on the time. So you can combine those templates, and in order to combine those templates you have to design a BPC template so that it satisfies both the requirements. Like that, whoever working as a solution architect, they have to look into the templates of the client and they have to modify and they have to combine few of the templates and make it number of templates, they will make it as very less, and then they will achieve those things by changing the category and context, which they are not able to do previously in their old system. That rationalization, as a solution architect, he has to take care about that. Mitesh is having a question. Do we have list of EPM formulas? Yeah, Mitesh, we are having a EPM user guide. In that, one of the section is the EPM member formulas. Whatever we are discussing is the main EPM formulas which are required for a report. There are other EPMs that are there which will just be used for converting from 7.5 to 10, which is already covered in the edit report section. So I am covering whatever is not covered in the edit report section and which are useful with respect to 10, because from 7.5 to 10 they are migrating. Some of the formulas which are required, they will migrate into BPC 10 with the new formulas that the system will take care when they are doing the migration, that are not required when we are working in 10 directly. And Hemang is having a question. On an average, how much time it takes to create balance sheet templates? 2 weeks. I don't think, Hemang, 2 weeks or 3 weeks is required. You can create all the templates within 1 week. See, here you are using only drag and drop option and with limited functionalities. And moreover, if it is the balance sheet templates where the format is fixed, only rows you will have data and columns you will have current year and previous year with actual data. It's very prefixed templates. It will not take much time. If you are working in planning, I agree. Sometimes planning templates will be more cumbersome, so many calculations involved, so many variations will be involved. Planning template based on the complexity, it might vary, but generally for consolidation where the balance sheet and the P&L reporting is concerned, those are standard and you can create maximum within 1 week. Even 20-30 templates along with the notes also you can create within 1 week, not more than that. 1 week also I am saying a higher end. Okay, so we want to make the property selection by the user as a dynamic selection. So what we have to use? EPM dimension property values. Put fx. What dimension you are doing? Property values, account dimension. And what property you want? Account type property. Yes. Okay. So these are the values that are there in the BPC presently for account details. So I'm just putting it only for the information purpose that I'm having these property values. I want to make these property values as a part of my drop down list. How to make it? So go here. So F3. EPM dimension override. So I want to override the dimension value. Dimension override. What dimension? Account dimension. And what members? Account type equal to and we'll place that here in F4. So we can make the property values here. I'm just putting it EX. So I can create these four with Excel formula dimension underscore property. Go here. Go to data, data validation, list, dimension underscore property. Okay, go to data validation, list, you can find assets. And report ID, whatever present report ID is 000. Now come here, refresh. Now see, if I have selected assets, it is showing only asset related GL accounts. What we are doing, we are overwriting the account dimension value based on the property type. And based on the property, previously it is showing only expense GLs. Now it is showing asset GL accounts. Even though I have selected property values to show only expenses, I am overriding those dimension values with the properties I am selecting from the drop down list. So now if I want to see only liabilities, select liabilities, press refresh. See, I am able to see only the liabilities. If I use the edit report, what is the problem is, there we are hard coding it to only show the expenses, and the user doesn't have the capability to select other values. And if you want to see only the expenses, only the liabilities and only the assets, we need to create 3 multiple templates if we are using edit report thing. And instead of that, we can use this EPM dimension override formula and override the values with your property selection in one template itself. So as Dinesh rightly asked, when we are discussing these templates with the client, these templates with the client, we have to see the reporting requirements and see how we can manage this by using the formulas, and how can we automate this thing instead of creating the static reports. Now what we did, instead of creating them based on the property through edit report where we can use only one property, we made that template as a dynamic one. And if there is a requirement to see only assets, only liabilities, we can achieve those things without creating 4 templates with the single template itself. So like this, you have to do the rationalization of reporting also when you are working as a solution consultant, and you have to provide solutions in order to support these requirements. Dinesh, I think you got that your answer properly. Previously what I am explaining to you, Ganesh. So this is one of the important EPM formula which we will be using when we are working in the template creation. So here we are using EPM dimension property values in order to just see what are all the property values, and I have created those property values here. And I have given the data validation, which is normal Excel function, to give a drop down list for the end user. So, and then what I have given in the EPM dimension override, a report 000 means the present report. It is standard across BPC. And what dimension is there in the account column? It is account dimension. And what members I want to replace? I want to replace it based on the account type. So I have given account type is equal to, and what value I need to put after equal to, it is F4. That is there in the data validation which I have provided. Like this, we have to use the BPC formulas along with your Excel formulas in order to make your template more user friendly and make it as dynamic reporting. And as I said, this will not come over time. You have to practice a lot, including your Excel formulas, in order to make these kind of templates. Report ID is the present report which you have logged in. It's always 000 is the report ID which you have logged in. You see here, 000 is the default report which you have logged in. If you see here, 000 is the default report which you have logged in presently into the system. So those are the some of the formulas. Along with that, I will tell you some of the other formulas which generally we will use. There is a comment related thing which I will discuss after this when we are discussing on the comment section. And there is something called, if you want to see the list of the dimensions, you can use dimension list. EPM dimension list. Dinesh is having a question, are these formulas available in 7.52? Yes, Dinesh, 7.5 we are having lot of formulas compared to this. They have reduced the formulas in 10 because they have given all those formulas. Like previously when we are working, we want to create read-only data, local members, all those things we have to create with EV formulas till 7.5. Now all those things they have brought into this particular portion, and they have brought some things into option section. All those things they have made it more user friendly compared to 7.5. And that is why if you see the formulas in the EPM, still they are supporting so many formulas which are there right now in the edit report also, in order to have the migration happening. When it is migrating from 7.5 to 10, it needs to have a one formula in 10 also, which is there in 7.5. That is why SAP allowed that migration to happen. And SAP has specifically given some of the EV formulas which are not supported at all in the 10 version. So if you are creating any template with those EV formulas which is provided by SAP as not supported, you have to create those templates in the 10 after migration. That is the SAP recommended thing. So if you see here, it will show the list of dimensions that are available in your present model, like how we see the property values. And for each line item, I want to see the property values. I have EPM member property, and I can specify what member I want. This is the member, and what property I want to have, say ACCTYP, account type. Now if you see here, automatically system will create it as a local member formula, and it will put the whatever is the required property value. And sometimes, as we discussed, for entity there might be a requirement to see what entity belongs to what region and all, which we will maintain in the master data. So if we want to see the template or report by region wise also, a region is not a dimension or master data for us, it's only a property value which is an attribute. So if you create a report, entity in the columns, entity in the rows, and take the dimension value here, the region value, you will get for each of the entity what region it belongs to, and you can hide the entity dimension so that you will get a region wise reporting also. So these are the some of the things which, based on the requirement of the user, your solution architect will be, whoever is working as a solution architect, they have to develop these kind of solutions in order to make the reporting from the end user point of view simple and possible. What are all the options that are there in the BPC system? For that purposes, generally we will be using EPM member property, which is generally used in the template creations everywhere. That means in any project. See, these read-only data, these are already available in the edit report section, but still SAP is providing these details because SAP want to support 7.5 to 10 migration, where 7.5 we have to specifically mention those things with EV formulas. This EPM retrieve data and all we will be using there. EPM save data, all these things are used in 7.5, which we can use it here also, but we can directly use from the edit report, no need to create formulas separately. And we have something called EPM work status. When I am discussing on the work status, I will show you how the status will look like and all. This is also very important feature. So there are EPM user guide is there, which I will provide you the link. If you are having user ID, you can download that user guide. In that user guide, one of the section is EPM formulas. There they have given with the formulas, list of formulas and the description of each formula. If somebody wants to master those formulas, and also they can go through and they can practice on their own. And BPC 430 also has given some of the important EPM formulas with the examples also. Whatever we are discussing is the high level high-end reporting part using multiple EPM formulas with Excel formulas. But individually, if you want to learn only that particular EPM formula, BPC 430 book has given examples of, you can say that some of the important EPM formulas. But if you want to have all the list of the formulas, EPM user guide is there. I will search the link and I will forward the link to you in next class. Dinesh is having question, are there many questions in certification on EPM formulas? No, I heard from last 2 to 3 certifications they are asking 1 or 2 questions out of EPM formulas, which by giving a glance you can understand what EPM formula refers to and what it will do. Like EPM dimension list, it will support to show you the list of dimensions. Other things, major reporting part, EPM dimension overrides. It will override the dimension which is there in the row axis. Like that, we can specify. We can specifically understand each of the formula by the description also, which we can directly clear in the certification. I don't think with certification point of view, EPM formulas is not that much big deal. Hari, I did not get you. What you want to speak about certification means? Certification generally will be 3 hours, 180 questions. Sometimes they will ask question inside the question also. It will cover both planning and consolidation. For BPC certification purposes, you have to go through 420, 430 and 440. 420 is for administration part. 430 is for a reporting part as well as the data loads, and then 440 is purely for consolidation. How many hours of preparation means I cannot say, because it depends upon each individual how they will read through. Each book will have around 500 pages, so you can think whatever preparation time is required in order to complete 500 pages after attending the class. Now 420, 430, 440 are 3 books used for BPC. To understand the BPC, we require 420, 430, 440. So examination is on 3 books, combination of all those 3. Like if you are working in FI, FI is having 5 tab books, right? So all the 5 tab books will cover different aspects of FI. Similarly, in BPC, these 3 tab books cover different aspects of BPC system. So you have to go through 420, 430 and 440 to clear the exam. So till now, if you are having any doubts, please let me know. Then we'll move on to the comment section. When we are working in the BPC reporting part, if you are having a little knowledge on the Excel also, it will be helpful in creating some of the complex reporting. You can use your Excel knowledge also in order to support the BPC formulas. That will be a great combination in order to work on the reporting part along with EPM formulas. Okay, just give me a minute. We will discuss on the comment section. Hi everyone. Ganesh is having a question. To clear the certification, does FI business knowledge is mandatory? No, Ganesh, FI business knowledge is not at all required. You require BPC knowledge only. But if you are working as a solution consultant, then you need to have a knowledge towards the FI system, because your planning as well as consolidation data mainly depends on FI, SD data, where major integration part with respect to the financials will be there. So if you are working as a solution consultant, so in order to know which data is getting posted from where and how to do the planning, somebody will be doing the planning based on the last purchase price. So in order to see how I will get the last purchase price from the end user point of view, so that I can display that, based on that he will do all. So for those things you require an FI knowledge, and that will be provided by the solution consultant, which table he needs to take the values, and which FI tables will get hit, and what transactions you can see it from that FI table. That will be given by the solution consultant to the technical consultant, so that he can bring the data at that level. So whoever is working as a solution consultant, if they are having FI knowledge, that will be very helpful in the projects when they are working as a solution, designing the solution. Minimum score, I heard it is 71%, but last attempt I am not sure how much percentage they got it. They have made it, but till previous certification exam and all, it was 71%. Dinesh, I am not sure on the passing percentage and all. But generally people with whatever we are discussing, along with that, if you read through 420, 430, 440, it is not difficult to clear the exam. That's what I can say. But exactly the passing rate, I don't know. Okay. So when we are discussing on the comments part, comments are of two types. One is at header level comments and line item level comments. Unlike your data entry, when you are storing the data with all these context members and with the row access and column access, system will store the data, which we have seen already. Because when we are storing the data, it will store against net income, June, Germany, forecast, product C, euro, and then the periodic measurement. So combination of all these things will be the data record. It will be storing in the BPC system. Any one thing is missing, system will not able to store the data. And when we are discussing, we discuss the data entry at the top level is not possible. Even if you try to enter the data here and save data, if you see here, account dimension PL 500, which is operating income, is not a base member. It's a parent member. So whenever parent member is there, you cannot enter the data in the BPC system. It is an automatic roll up by the BPC system. You can enter the data only at the base level, which we have already discussed. Unlike that, SAP BPC allows you to store the comments either at the top node or at the base node. So system allows both the data entry possible with respect to comments only, not the data entry. So when I am saying at header level, if you see here, there is something called comments tab. If you click here, there is an option called add comment. Press here. When you are adding the comment, you have an option to select priority. What is the priority of the comment? These will be useful when you are searching the comments also. You can search what are all the high priority comments that have been added in the BPC system for this particular planning scenario or a consolidation scenario. So you can use this priority as a search criteria when you are searching. So I am just putting header comment. And you can use any keyword which is useful for your search. And here, if you see here, there is something called active context and custom context. What is meant by active context? Active context means whatever is there in the context, this will be taken as the value in order to store this particular comment. If you store it against active context, whatever is the selection in the active context. Suppose if you see here, it is showing balance sheet in the account dimension, which is a top node. If you save this comment, this will be stored against the account called balance sheet, not the net income, because in context I am showing it as balance sheet. We'll see how it will display. I am saving this comment against the active context. Now if you see here, like data entry also, system will show you the results, how many data records have been accepted with respect to comments. Press OK. Now if you want to see your comments, you can go here, press find comments. System will open the comments through web page. When it is opening the comments, you can search by priority. You can search by context, active context or custom context. You can search by the author. You can search by the date range also. So I am selecting active context because I have stored the comment against the active context. Press find. System will open the web section. Now if you see here, I have added header comment. If you see where it is stored against forecast, time period, DE, BS000, which is balance sheet, the top node, and then euro, periodic and product C. So what it is taking the context values when it is storing this particular comment. Now I will store a comment against a custom context and we will see how it will look like. Now I am giving a priority called critical. I am just putting custom comment. Keyword for searching is custom. And I am selecting it as a custom context. Once I selected custom context, that means that I am not using the active context which is available. I want to change and store it against a particular other item. So instead of product C, I will select this comment should be stored against product A. And instead of forecast, it should store against actual category. So I am not saving this comment against the context. I am saving this comment against a other context, which is a custom context, which is other than the context available here. Now press save button. So one has been accepted. Now go to find comments. You can press find here. And here I am seeing only header comment because I have selected active context. If I want to see all the comments, go to edit criteria, select here all members, and I have all members. So I am selecting all members to display the comment. See, this is the custom comment and this is the header comment. Now if you see the data where it is stored against actual and it is stored against the product A, which we have chosen. Previously the custom context, it is showing this value, and wherever we have used active context, it is showing this value which is there in the context. Like this, when we are storing the comments, we can store against the custom context or active context. Now whatever we have seen is the comments which we are entering at the header level, that is at the top node, and we can enter only one comment for the entire section of the data. And sometimes what happens is, for each line item there might be a different comment I need to post as an end user, and I want to see those comments. I want to see my manager to see those comments instead of logging into the comment section and seeing the comments from here using the find comments option. Because when he is using the find comment option, he can go into the web template only and he can see the comments, but he cannot see directly in the reporting part, which is of no use for me, because I want my manager also to see the comments directly in the template itself without going into the web portion. And I should be allowed to save the comment at each line item level instead of the header level. When I'm talking about header, it is against a context, that means against a active context or a custom context. But I am not storing the values directly, and I am using the comment option to add the comments. But if I directly want to enter the comments directly in Excel, instead of going to comment section and add, and I want to display those things also into the reporting, then there is a line item comments which we can choose. Till now whatever we discussed is the header item comments, which we can give it at header level for the entire section of the data or for entire report. Dinesh is having a question, how the comments are used in Dinesh, I am going to cover that, Dinesh. And V is having a question, what if others also create the comment on the same context? It's overwrite. Yes, V, it is overwrite only. If with the same values, with the same master data, even if you are posting an entry in FI, it's a overwrite option only. Similar way in BPC also, if everything remains the same, if you are posting a new value, it's overwrite only. Now, in order to store the comments at line item level, we have to use EPM formulas. How to use that EPM formulas? EPM save comment. This is the formula which we need to use to save the comments. When I am saving the comments, when I want to save the comments at line item level, so my row access becomes the distinct identity for me. So which cell comment I want to store? I am putting H as my comment section. So I am putting H. And against which line item I want to store? This line item. So this line item keeps on changing. H9, H10, like that, comments are also going to be added. So I have created one formula like this. Okay, suppose I have kept like this the EPM save comment formula, and I have given here comments this particular column, and I referred this particular cell in my, if you see here, H9, that is this line item I have given as my comment cell. So I am putting, say, comment 1. Okay, like this I am storing. Just to show the information, I am storing it like that. So I am storing comment 1 to 9. From the end user perspective, once we given the formula like this and given a linkage to H9, H10 like this, if you see, this is H10. And the E10 is the different identification member, that is account dimension, because we are storing line item level comments. Hide this particular column from the end user perspective. When he sees the template, he will be seeing like this in the comments column. He will be entering his own comments. And then once he entered the comments, he will use save button. It will show 9 comments are there. If you see here, total 9 comments I have added. So 9 comments is saved. Press OK. Now the comments have been stored. If you want to see the comments from the web perspective also, you can go edit criteria, display report. Select all members in the account dimension. Now if you see, comment 1 is stored against PL 600, that is net income. You see here, I'll make this as ID and description. PL 600 is comment 1. Similarly, PL 020 is comment 6. If you go here, if you go here, PL 020, that is comment 6. See, system is automatically storing for each line item the comments which we have added here. Now I am deleting a comment from the front end. So I am deleting, say, comment 7. Delete and save. Press S. Now one comment has been deleted. Once we deleted, it is showing 3 dots here. Why it is showing 3 dots? Because if you go to options, sheet option, if you see here, if there is any empty comment is there, by default you want to put these things. If you want to put any comment here like empty or something or NA, whatever you want, you can put it in the user options section. That will be displayed whenever there is no comment or whenever the comment has been deleted. Empty comment will be displayed like this. It is up to you, whatever you want to configure, you can configure that in the user options under other section. That is why after emptying, the comment is showing with 3 dots. Now if you go back and see the edit criteria, display report. Now see, the comment 7 will not be displayed at all, because even though the point is there, it is only to describe you as a empty comment. But when the comment section, if you see, it will be displayed like 111. It will not show comment 7 at all. Even the empty comment will also shown like this. That is from front end if you are deleting. If I will delete, say, comment 5 from the back end, that is from the web section. Delete comment. Press OK. So I am deleting from the web section comment 5. Come here, EPM, refresh. Now see, when I am deleting from the web section, if you see here, there is no dot 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 is available, because we are deleting directly in entirety from the system, the comment from the system, from the web section, not from the Excel. If you are deleting from the Excel part, whatever is the default value you kept it in the option section, sheet of user options, the default value will be displayed. If you are deleting from the web part, it is deleted forever without any default value. This is the important thing which I want to show you. So whenever you are deleting any of the comments from the web section, it will automatically get deleted without any default value being stored in the system. But if you are deleting something from the Excel line item level, then it will be deleted, but it will be stored with the default value which you are keeping in the Excel. This is very, very important thing which you need to remember. And sometimes I have seen some of the questions like this also coming up in the certification exam. Dinesh is asking question, does it save comments according to the hierarchy? I did not get your point, Dinesh. According to hierarchy means I am saying against line item level it is storing. Whether it is a hierarchy or a base member or any member, it is storing against this, whether it is a top node or a base node. That is why if you see PL600, which is a top node, the comment one is stored against that hierarchy top node. You see here comment 1 is stored against PL600, which is the high hierarchy node, which is the highest node. And till now we have used how to save the comments, but how to retrieve the comments, we'll just create one more report and we'll see how to retrieve the comments. Suppose I'm putting entity, I'm putting say time. Okay. So if you see here, I have stored the comments against entity called DE. Okay. So I stored the comments against line item, that is here, each line item wise. Now if I want to retrieve the comments, there is an option called EPM comment partial context. Based on which member I want to retrieve? I want to retrieve based on this and based on this. Press OK. Now if you see here, I am not able to retrieve any comment because I have stored my comments against this line items. And when I am storing my comment against this line item, the DE and June are my top nodes. And when I am storing comments, I am storing against a particular line item level, which I am not specifying in the context at all. So if I use EPM comment full context, press OK. Now if you see, if I use the partial context, because this is part of either net income or other income, everything is same, that is why it is not picking the partial context. So whenever you want to use partial context, then against which distinctive member you have stored your comments, that should be there in your row access. If it is not like that, then you have to use EPM full context, then only you can bring your comments from the database. This is the difference between using partial context and full context. And if I am changing this net income to say balance sheet. Balance sheet I have stored the header comment. If you remember, the header comment I stored against BS111, that is the balance sheet. Sorry, header comment I stored against BS000, that is balance sheet. And line item level comment I stored, sorry, custom context I stored against actual and then product A. If I change here to actual and then product A. See, it is showing custom context. Similarly, if I use any of the other line item comments also, say I am using gross margin. Press OK. I just check. So for gross margin, we have used forecast and product C. See, for gross margin we stored comment 3, which is there here. Comment 3, which is there against PL 300. So whatever we are seeing is the comments which we have stored against a particular line item. In our particular line item, our distinctive thing is account dimension. So if I want to see all the comments also in line item basis, I need to have my account also part of my row axis. Now, it's net income. Now what I have to do, I have to change my formula because a new member has been added. And I'm referring to this. This is constant. And member 2 is, press OK. Now refresh. See, we have stored our comments like this here. See, third party sales, we don't have any comment. CF001, we have comment 9. CF001 is not part of this, so we are not able to get that. So if we add CF001 also, see CF001, that is comment 9, which we have stored it like this. So the same thing we can retrieve it using the comment option into our template for this option. So like this we can retrieve the comments from the database from the line item level also, When we are storing against line item, we can store also, we can retrieve also the line item level comments. You mean to say manage comment screen, they are not displayed in sequence. You are saying this one? Okay. It is not based on this. It is based on the what you can call it as actual, then forecast. First item, based on first item, it will take. You can say that it is an alphabetical order. If you see here, these two, everything is same. It is 510 and 600. That is why 510 is coming first and 600 is coming next, like that. By dimension wise, it will check. And this is with respect to comments. When we discussed in the audit section also, there is something called comments activation also at the audit level. We'll go to the audit report in the home, audit, comments. So go to audit section, click on comments. Now here, when you are searching on the comments, you can search by model also. So we have entered in training model, and then by dimension members, by history, full history of the comments, and start time, priority. You can search by priority also, which priority you want, with which user ID, with keyword. This is the searching of comments through audit. Previously we are finding comments through Excel. This is searching. Both will provide you the same details, but here what is the thing is, you will have print option, export to file option. These two things will not be available when you are searching from here. I think they have added it from here. I'll just check in this particular service pack it is there. Yeah, if you see here, there is nothing called print and export to file. That you cannot find it through manage comments which you are getting from Excel. But here you have an option to delete the comment in the manage comments. But in audit, there will not be any delete criteria because you are just auditing the details which you have got it. This here you have an option to see the details by ID, description, and ID and description also. If you put ID and description, it will show you the full details. And if you put print, it will ask you to create as a print file and all. Then you can export it to a CSV file also if you want to have the comments to be added. So through audit comments, you can get print and export option. In manage comments, you have the delete option, and you can show the history of the comments. That is the difference between finding comments through Excel and from the audit section, which is there in the general comment section. We'll discuss on the work status separately when we are discussing, and then security and BPF. These three are left out in the audit section, which we will discuss when we are discussing on the each portion. So this is with respect to the comments part in BPC system. So in order to enable the comments, which we have discussed when we are discussing on the models, first thing what we need to do is we have to enable the comments for particular model. Like data entry, comments are also stored against a model only, because at model level only the data is storing. The comments also will be stored against a particular model. But the advantage of comments is you can store against the top node values also, not even base member. You can store it against the top node values. But as we discussed, first thing we need to do is, when we are creating the model, we discussed we have to enable the comments. This is the prerequisite we will do when we are doing the comments. When we are doing the implementation also, generally comments will be the pre-requirement for any client. We will enable the comments from here and we'll put the comment length here. The maximum is 1332 is allowed in the BPC system. If you see here, if you put cursor here, it will show the comment length is 1332. You cannot exceed the comment size which is provided here, and you have to use the enable comments checkbox and put the length here. This we discussed when we are discussing on the model, because at model level only we will enable the comments. So if you have any doubts, please let me know with respect to the comments part. Okay, then we'll go into the another part, that is validations. With respect to validations, we have two types of validations. One is master data validations and another is transaction data validations. At planning stage, generally there will not be any transaction data validations, because when we are doing planning, we are not doing the transaction level any checking and all. But when you are working in consolidation, you have to take care about so many aspects when we are loading the data. So at transaction level, controls are provided at the consolidation level, which is more of a relevance rather than at planning level. At planning level and consolidation level, the master data validations will be prevalent. So when we are discussing right now the validations, which is applicable for master data validations, which is applicable both in planning and consolidation. The transaction data validations, which we call controls in BPC, we'll discuss at the time of consolidation. If you see here, they have attached that in the consolidation central, there is something called controls, which is nothing but transaction data validations, which is applicable for consolidation. So we'll discuss those things at the time when we are discussing on the consolidation part. So at present, whatever we are discussing is with respect to master data validations. What is the difference between a transaction data validation and a master data validation? Transaction data validation means, for a simple example, my assets is equal to liabilities plus equity. So my asset total value should be equal to my liabilities plus equity value. That is on the transaction data basis. That is called transaction data validations. With respect to master data, for example, I am having say 4 products. I am having 5 entities. So entity 1 should only deal in product 1, 2, 3 only, not in 4, 5. If I allow the user to enter any product, then by mistake they will do the planning for product 4 in entity A also. That I want to avoid from the end user point of view. So by mistake also they should not be allowed to select a different combination. That is called master data validations, because we are discussing on the entity level and product level, which is two master data elements for us. These validations are called master data validations. In any project, we will be definitely getting master data validations as a prerequisite. Without that, I don't think a planning project and consolidation project will be there. So this is very, very important feature with respect to the validations is concerned, which takes care about the master data validations. So in order to enable the master data validations, we have to enable that only from the backend. Go to the BW system. Go to BPC. Ganesh is having question. Generally, every client will have both planning and consolidation together. Need not be, Ganesh. Consolidation is when you are having multi organizations with multiple subsidiaries, multiple things. If you are having only one or two entities, there is no point of going for consolidation. They can do planning and they can leave the consolidation outside the system because there is no requirement at all. So it doesn't mean that you should have both in same client. There is a possibility, but it is not mandatory. Some clients will only go for planning at the first stage and consolidation at a later stage when the users are stabilized with the planning product and all. So it is typically you will not have both simultaneously work parallelly going on. I have never seen any client going for planning and consolidation simultaneously. Either they will go for planning first and after some stabilization they will go for consolidation, or in a vice versa. Yes, elimination is part of consolidation. Elimination of investments and elimination of intercompany transactions. So go to the backend. Go to T code called UJ underscore validation. This is the place we will create our validations. As I said, in BW we need to understand some of the concept. Even though if you are a FI consultant or if you are not having BW knowledge, we need to understand some of the BW concept, not the entire BW. Like what we discussed, how to see the data from the BW in the queue, and what are all the master data when we are adding from the BPC front end, how it is added. Just you need to know that information. And second information from the back end, what you need to know, how to create validations. And third information also I will tell you when we are discussing on the other areas. But this is also very important area which we need to understand from the back end BW system. In order to create the validations, first of all you have to select against which environment you are creating the validations, because as we discussed, at any point of time at a client place we will be doing all the planning or consolidation within one environment that is equal to client level in your ECC system. So I am creating validations in this environment. When I am creating validations, always in BPC you will be creating validations against a driver dimension. What is driver dimension? We will discuss. Click on assign driver dimension. That is the first step. If you see here, the sequence they have kept it is the way in which you have to proceed in creating the validations. First, assign driver dimension. Now if you see here, by each model wise you can create validations. Why it is allowing model wise creation of validations? Because the data entry and the master data is dependent upon the model. Because in model you have dimensions and transaction data. That is why the dimensions are part of models. So different models will have different dimensions. As we have seen, consolidation will have different models, planning will have different models, and in planning also, if you are doing the inventory planning, there will have a different dimension, expense planning there is a different dimension, and capex planning there will be a different dimension. So by each model wise you will have a different dimensions. So when we are discussing on the master data validations, so depending upon the model, the dimensions will keep on changing. So SAP BPC allows you to create master data validations at each model level. And in each model you have a different dimensions that can be created. Dinesh, as we discussed in our first class itself, the transaction data, whatever we are entering from the front end, we are stored, it will be stored automatically as a cube in the backend and store the data in the backend BW system only. And we have seen how it will create a backend cube and how it will store the data. All those things we have seen. So when I am talking about driver dimension, for each of the model we can have one dimension as a driver dimension. What is the concept of driver dimension? It means, if you see here, they have given the what is driver dimension means. Driver dimension is the validation rules applied at driver dimension. For example, if your driver dimension is account, then whatever rules you are creating will be creating against the account dimension. That means, suppose if I am taking entity, for example, training and plan, where we are discussing all these things, I have selected dimension entity as my driver dimension. What it refers to is, when I am creating my logics, my driver dimension will remain constant. That means my left hand side will remain a constant in the equation. Right hand side will keep on changing. Always left hand side will remain constant. That is nothing but driver dimension. As I said, for entity A, it should only deal in product A and B. So my entity is becoming as a driver dimension and the right hand side is product. So in a equation, left hand side and right hand side is constant when you are creating the validation. Right hand side can be anything. Now take another example. My entity B can deal in product C and product B, but they can enter the data only in the actual category. So in right hand side I am having two combination, category with product. Like that I can have multiple combination of dimensions on the right hand side, but my left hand side is always entity. So that I am choosing as my driver dimension, based on which all my validations will happen. That dimension should be selected as a driver dimension. This is very important. So in my present example, I have selected entity as my driver dimension. If you want to select other dimension, you can select it by keeping this, and you can select any other dimension also. Once you select it, you can use save driver dimension settings. Then go back, go to rule maintenance. First step is assigning driver dimension. That is why they have given it in the sequence. Second step is rule maintenance. Go to rule maintenance. So what dimension I have selected as a driver dimension, against that only I can create rules. So select the dimension which you have selected as a driver dimension, entity, and press OK. Here I can create a rule. When I am creating a new rule, I use create new rule. If I am editing a new rule, I can edit the new rule using this option. Since I have already created, I am using edit rule. But when you are creating for the first time, you have to use create rule option. I am going to edit rule to show you what are all the things you need to consider. The rule number and the dimension, if you see here, it is in the non-editable format. System will give you sequential numbering for each rule. If you are creating 4 rules, system will automatically give the numbering 1, 2, 3, 4. And why here the dimension entity is showing in grayed out mode is, as I said, left hand side is always fixed when you are selected as a driver dimension. As I selected entity as a driver dimension, it is showing in the grayed out mode, which you cannot edit when you are creating the rules. And the description, according to your requirement, you can maintain the description. And assigned member means in the entity dimension, which are the members you want to create this particular rule. You can give single member, or you can give from and to, or you can give multi-selection using the ranges, or if you want to give multi-selection, you can give the multi-selection values here, like your normal system, normal SAP system, either your ECC system or BW system. Multiple selection you can do it from here. So what I am saying is, my entity dimension left hand side, for Australia entity only this rule is applicable. If you want to create multiple entities also, you can select, but for our understanding I am using one member. So entity Australia. And if you see the logic table, that means this is your right hand side of the logic. So when my entity is Australia, that is left hand side, what is the logic I want to use to create the validation? What I am saying, if you want to add any dimension, click here, press add dimension. It will create a line item, and then you can select which dimension you want to maintain in the right hand side. I have used category and product. So what I am saying is, when entity is Australia, category should always be actual. Operators I am allowed is equal to and not equal to. And product should not be product A. So what I am creating is, when entity is Australia, I am not allowed to sell product A, and I am not allowed to enter other than actual category data. So that is my condition or validation I am setting up. This is one example I am saying. In consolidation, generally people will keep, if you are having intercompany transactions. So whenever there is an intercompany GL account is there, the trading partner field should not be blank. That is one kind of validation. So depending upon the requirement of the client, you will be coming up the different validation requirements. Based on that, you have to build the validation rules. So this is one of the validation rule, where I am specifying entity on the left hand side, and right hand side I am selecting multiple combination with category and product. So both the combination has to be satisfied in order to save a record. You can keep one dimension also according to your requirement. You can keep 3 dimensions also. Once you created rule, you use save rule. Rule 1 has been saved successfully. Go back. Second rule also I have created, we'll just see. If you see second rule, for entity CN, that is China, I am saying it should allow to do business only with product B. That is why I am saying product is equal to product B. So my second validation rule is, whenever there is an entity called China, it should allow to enter data only in product B. Ganesh, I did not get you. What is the limitation of usage? What exactly you refer to limitation? No, Hari, as I said clearly, when we are defining the validations, it is for a particular model and for a particular master data dimension. That is called master data validations. So when I am saying master data validations at a dimension level, how can we create by template wise? It cannot be possible. So at what level we are creating? Only at that level only validation happens. Ganesh is a question. How many validations can be used? You can create as many number as you want. There is no such limit like only you create one or two. There is no limit. Yeah, Dinesh is having a question. Is validation used when you link the data from BW to BPC? That means when you are loading the data from BW to BPC. Pardon my dumb question. No, Dinesh, it is very, very valid question and it is very, very important question also. In my next screen, I am going to cover this. This is very, very important question, Dinesh. Where you will cover these validations, that is also very important. That is our next screen where we will be assigning the dimension rules. Sorry, validation rules. Now, once I created this validation rule, I am saving this validation rule. Go back and then go back. If you have any requirement to copy the validations, you can copy. If you don't have, you can leave the third step alone. And deletion also can be possible if you want to delete any validation configuration. And I don't want copy and deletion, so I'm checking the validations. So you can check, you can turn on and check, or you can check and then turn on according to your requirement. So I'm just checking the validations whether it is properly created or not. Yeah, now all the checks have been passed successfully. Kamlesh is having a question, can I have multiple conditions in one validation? Kamlesh, what we discussed in rule 1 is multiple conditions only. What I said is my category should be actual and product should not be product A. That is a multiple condition only. Yeah, Kamlesh. Yeah.
Krishna, this is Hari. Sorry to come online. My point is, if you define the validations at the dimension level or model level, for example, China, you said product 8 only, and that's the backend at that level you're doing.
Correct.
And are we not restricting the total possibilities to the planner here that in case, I mean, we define we will go away, and of course, regular maintenance will go. What happens if China has to deal with product 6 also tomorrow? The specific question I have is, should the validations be not specific to another sub-entity, like it may not be a template, template level you can validate using Excel functionality or EPM functionality. I understood that part of it.
No, what you said is conditional formatting. What you are saying, with conditions you can write and macros you can create, that is okay. But from the back end, system is providing you to control the activity. See, you are saying, I'm taking a vague example here. Suppose you take an example of validation requirement where I am saying there is an intercompany GL account. So for intercompany GL account, in order to do the consolidation, I need to have a trading partner. So if I don't have a trading partner, I cannot eliminate my intercompany transactions. So when I'm creating a validation rule, when my account GLs is equal to intercompany GL accounts, then my validation rule on the right hand side is the trading partner field should not be blank. This is a validation rule. So unless this validation is passed through, I cannot load any data into the BPC system, because otherwise I cannot do the consolidation at all. My consolidation figures are wrong. So how you will handle this situation? You're controlling at the data load level itself, which is the correct point of control. And what I am saying is, product China can able to sell the product C later on. That is a later judgment you are taking. So at that time you have to do the modification. So whenever you are going for a configuration, later on if there is any changes are happening, you have to bound to do the configurational changes with respect to validation. That is part and parcel of the regular maintenance. You cannot avoid that. But at present, the client requirement is like that. Why should end user by mistake put a value in the product C when they are not allowed to do at all? So my client will ask me, so what is the control you are putting when my end user by mistake put the value in product C, which he is not allowed to do so? Then what answer you can give? How to control that? So for that purpose, SAP has allowed to create the validation at master data level. And whenever you are going in a regular maintenance, there will be changing scenarios in the business. Based on the changing scenarios only, your maintenance will keep on going, and you will be adding certain more things when you are doing in the maintenance, some small developments you are doing. So how they are arriving? They are arriving based on the business dynamics changing. The same way here also it will apply. Kamlesh, I did not get your point, Kamlesh. You are saying if entity AU and value is actual, then only material A. Yeah, but for plan, any material is allowed. Yes. Hello. What I said is, hello.
Yeah, I mean, Krishna, what I was trying to say is that, I mean, in that particular condition, it made it sound like the only actual values are allowed. And
no. If you remember what I said, I can take single value or multiple values also. For our understanding purpose, I have taken one value. When you want to create another value also, you can create here.
Yeah, what I'm trying to understand is
if you
that
select actual, budget, plan also, it will take.
No, I understand that, Krishna. What I'm trying to say is that can it be multifold condition, saying that
it is multifold only, right? For entity Australia, I'm saying actual and plan are also allowed, and you're not allowed to enter in product A, and you are allowed to enter in only in product B and C.
So can I say that when you are doing actual, that's when product A is not allowed, but when you are doing planning, product A is allowed?
Yeah, that is my condition here.
Okay.
If you don't want at plan level also, you can restrict it here, actual and plan.
Okay, okay. Okay, clear.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No problem. So now I have checked my validations. So my last step is turn on the validations. So at what level the validation should apply? So my environment is fixed, and as I said, for each model you have a different validations. So I have created validations for training underscore plan. Now if you see here, the validations appear with three different aspects in the data load. One is journals. Journals is nothing but which are used in consolidation to post the adjustment entries. So at that level, if you want to have these validations to trigger, you can select on. Manual planning. Manual planning is both Excel as well as web. These are the two modes where you will use the input templates. So at this level, if you want to control, you can control it using manual planning. Data manager, which is used for data loading into the BPC system, either through flat file or BW load, whatever it might be. Any data loads into the BPC system. So these are the three levels which are normally the data entries in the BPC system. That is adjustment entries or any data entry into the BPC system happens with these three options. So at these three options, system is allowing you to select validation should be triggered or not. So if I want to have at manual planning level only, I can select on, and only at data level I can select on. Here, if I don't want these two places, I can select off. If I want at three places, I can select on. So according to my requirement, I can select which place I want to trigger the validation. So at present, we are testing the system, our validations using the Excel input template. So I selected manual planning as on in order to see our results. Save validation settings. Once you save, validation settings are saved successfully. Now go back. I'll just keep the rule maintenance open so that we can refer back. Now first rule is Australia entity and category should be actual and product should not be product here. We'll go to the Excel. And we'll select the entity as Australia to test our first rule. So I'm putting say third party sales. Say 111. What I am saying, it should be only actual and it should not be any other value. So what I am selecting, it should be actual only and product should not be product A. So as per that condition, I am selecting product C and I am selecting forecast. So which should not allow me to save the data. Okay, I am entering third party sales. And I try to save data where my category is not actual. Now if you see, system is showing category validation, that is failed 001. What is my category validation 001? It is my dimension should be actual only. It should not be any other member. That is why validation rule is failing and it is rejecting the records. Now I'll make that as actual. And now I'll post the value. Okay, now save data. Now system will allow me to save the data because both the conditions, category and product conditions, have been satisfied. See, system is allowing me to store the data because product C, which is not equal to product A as per our condition, and category is equal to actual, which is the condition. Both have been satisfied. Now I will make it as product A and then we'll see whether it will show the product related information also. Now try to save the data. So on the right hand side, one condition is satisfied, that is category is equal to actual, but product condition is being failed. Product validation rule has been failed. Product A is not allowed for dimension product for this particular validation rule. That is why you have to make it as either B or C. So make it B and try to save data. When both conditions are satisfied, then only you can save the data if you are having multi conditions on the right hand side. That's okay. So this is how system will allow you to use the validations. We'll just check the second validation also, where we are having only one condition. So here, if entity is China, it should allow to enter only in the product B. Category might be any category. So I'll select entity as China. And what is the condition? Only product B. Now I'll select it as product A. So when entity is China, I should not be allowed to enter any data in product A, where I am having only one condition. So my category can be anything. See, product A is not a valid member as per rule 2. So as per rule 2, what is allowed? Only product B if entity is China. Now try to enter some data. And save data. It is allowed. So like this, you can create the validations and you can use the validations at manual planning level, which is Excel and web input template, data load, which is the data load into the BPC system, and through journals, which is the adjustment entries passed in the consolidation. So these three levels you can control the validations which you created in the backend, which are called master data validations. Mitesh is having a question, do we also have substitution in BPC? Exactly what do you mean by substitution, Mitesh? R3 means exactly, can you tell me the example so that I can say where is there any other option also available or not? Dinesh is having a question, is same validation available in 7.5? Yes, Dinesh, validation functionality is available in 7.5 also.
Krishna, this is Mitesh here. I was just
Hi
like,
Mitesh.
a similar substitution just like what we have in R3. Like
Yeah.
if we have to change some product value, change some particular, replace with a particular dimensions or particular GL account or something like that when we make a consolidation, or we want to populate certain additional field attributes, the substitution can take care of it.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. When you're talking about R3 system, you are talking about transaction level. Correct. So when I'm saying planning system, I don't want to take the data at the each transaction level. What I'm taking see, what I'm taking is not the transaction data. What I'm taking is a cumulative data which is already available, either for planning purposes or for consolidation purposes. I'm nowhere concerned with transaction level details. So when there is no transaction details, I cannot use the substitution rule at all, because at each transaction level you might have a different substitution that will be there, which cannot be imposed onto the BPC system, because BPC system always has balances, which is not the transaction level. Because of transaction system is there at transaction level, analytical system always works on the balances, where you should not be allowed to do the substitutions. So that is why SAP has not provided the substitution facility in BPC system. Is it clear, Mitesh? Okay. So this is with respect to the validations. So till now, today's class we discussed about complex reporting using the EPM formulas. By tomorrow or by next class, I'll try to find out the link where you can download the EPM user guide, where you have all the options with respect to the different EPM functionalities. Meanwhile, you can go through the 430 book also, where they have given the important EPM functions with the examples also. You can go through it and you can understand that EPM functionalities. And then we discussed about the comment section with EPM formulas. You can use it for going for a line item level comment. Then we discussed on the validations part. So these are the 3 topics we discussed. If you are having any doubts, please let me know so that we'll clear those. Yeah, no problem, Dinesh. Go ahead. Yeah, you can ask the questions because we have completed our session for today, because it's only 10-15 minutes left. So even if I start any of the topic, I cannot give the basic introduction also. So we'll target next topic in tomorrow's class. So if you have any questions, please let me know. So if anybody is interested to stay back, they can stay back and listen. Yeah, Dinesh, we have 7.5 MS and thinking to upgrade to 10.0 NW. Yes, Dinesh, for these purposes, SAP has provided the migration thing. So when you are upgrading to 10, SAP consultant will help you to do the migration. So in 10, if you are having HANA as a database, you can move to 10 or 10.1 also. But at present, nobody is suggesting 10.1 because of the complexities and the stabilization perspective. So on HANA also you can install 10. Then no point in 10.1, Dinesh. If they want consolidation, then there is no question at all. You have to go for 10. Then no need of what you can call what about the database they are having SQL? Yeah, anyway they are having a HANA. HANA will be the BW database. On top of HANA, BPC will sit. Like MS version on top of SQL, how it is sitting. For NetWeaver version on top of HANA, BPC will sit. So in 7.5, how you used to create SQL queries and all, those things you can use it the BW system to run the reports and all, which is much simpler than SQL, where you have to give all the comments to retrieve the data in the backend. And I think in MS version you are using SSIS packages to load the data and all. That will be process change in your BW system, which is predefined by SAP. Any other questions? Exactly, I don't have any information or knowledge on MS to NetWeaver migration, because only SAP does. If it is a NetWeaver to NetWeaver migration, it is a simple migration through normal EVDRE migration you can do. This is 7.5 migration to 10 migration. But I am not sure from MS to NW, only SAP has to be contacted for that. See, BobJ is mainly for dashboard and a reporting tool, where post-mortem analysis only can be possible. In BPC, you are doing the planning activity, consolidation activity, you are storing, and you are reporting. Where BPC has both writing capability as well as reporting capability, where only BobJ is only a reporting tool like your BW system. It only can do post-mortem analysis. You cannot enter any data in BW and you cannot work on BW like BobJ. It's only after you have entered the data, if you want to have any dashboarding analysis, that you can do it in BobJ. That is a wrong impression, Dinesh. See, if they want to do the planning and consolidation, what they will do? They will not do in ECC, they will not do in BobJ. Where they will do? They have to do it in BPC. BobJ is only a reporting tool where you have already done your planning and consolidation and you want to use that data in order to create reports in BobJ. You can use the BobJ. But the base thing, how to create the planning, how to create the consolidations, for that you need to have a BPC system. BobJ is only after consolidations and after planning is done, it can report on that data. Ganesh is a question. If you have any overall picture of BPC, BPC 10 on HANA, focusing on the data movement, please share. It is 10 or 10.1, Ganesh, I did not get your point. BPC 1.0? Sparsh is having a question. Is journal entry functionality possible for standard planning? I did not get your point, Sparsh. When you are doing planning, why you want a journal entry feature? Journal entry will have a debit and credit facility where you need to have debit and credit postings happening at simultaneously. But when you are doing planning, why you want to do debit and credit level planning and then post the adjustments? Nobody will require a journal entry to be posted at the planning level. Only at consolidation level to do the consolidation adjustment, not the operational level adjustments. Like your subsidiary has considered it as a WA finished good, but when you are looking from a group perspective, it should not be considered as a finished good, it should be considered as a WIP only. So at that level, in order to post the adjustment entries at the group level, people use the journal entry feature. So I don't see the purpose of using the planning place to use the journals. If you have any special requirement, let me know so that I can explain you in detail. Yeah, as I said, Sparsh, it's for consolidation, it is more relevant because journal entries are posted at the consolidation level. At planning level, I have not seen anybody using the journal entries. Dinesh is having a question. Would you help for certification? Those interested could request for extra classes and could pay fees. Dinesh, there is no need to have an extra classes and there is no need to pay extra fees also. Whatever we are discussing all the topics in the BPC system. So after classes, if you go through 420, 430 and 440 books, it is more than enough to clear the certification. And no need to have extra classes, no need to have extra fees also. Everything we are going to cover and no need to refer through lot of documentation also. Whatever I am hearing from last few batches also, after classes, if they have knowledge on the concept, knowledge is more important. Along with the concept knowledge, if you read through the books, it is more than sufficient. So I don't foresee any extra classes, any extra fees also. But what I suggest is please have a conceptual knowledge of each of the concepts in the BPC system so that you can handle the questions properly. Yes, Dinesh, I suggest read the books along with the classes because in books you will have other examples also. which will be there in the, which we will not be discussing, because like planning and consolidation, which is analytical system, for each client you will have a different requirement. So we cannot say this is the only requirement in this client place and it only works for all the clients. Like ECC, there will be a predefined format. Wherever there is a little change, we will go for ABAP coding and all. But here, for each client, it is a different requirement. You have to understand the client requirement and match it with the BPC related objects. So when you come to analytical system, it is little different compared to your ECC system. Ganesh is having a question. Sorry, I was not able to hear you. You can answer if you have any overall picture of. Yeah, that is Ganesh. That is what I'm asking. Is it BPC 1.0 means BPC 10 on HANA? Dinesh, I have not seen many projects have become problematic. Whatever the projects I have seen are most of the projects are successful only. I have heard less projects becoming unsuccessful. It's not because of customization issues. It is because of the consultants with limited knowledge. They are working as a solution consultants and providing the solution. It's not the system problem. It's because BPC at initial stages are having very less consultant who has worked on the BPC system, and who have learned the consolidation, planning and consolidation. They started working, and they are providing the solutions without much knowledge and all. At initial stages, we have some projects that have problems. But after 10 implementation and last 1.5 years, I have not seen much of the projects as a failure projects with respect to BPC 10. I am saying. Yeah, 5 and 7, there are a lot of problems, Dinesh. I totally agree with you. 7 is a total failure product. There are a lot of bugs. That is why 7.5 has released immediately. In 7.5 also there are a lot of limitations like what we discussed here. But after 10, they have cleared so many problems. They have rectified so many errors and all. But 10 is, I can say, as more stable version with respect to BPC. So 10, I have seen very less projects going for a failure kind of a thing, total failure. Any other questions? Somebody is asking tomorrow what we will discuss. Tomorrow we will discuss on the data load functionality.
Krishna, this is Mitesh here. I was just going to the BPC 410 book, and it seems like
410 is for Microsoft version.
A lot of technical details in 410 and 420. So, what is the book you ask us to recommend that we should start with? Is it 430 is the right book to start with?
No, that is what I am saying. 410 is for Microsoft version, which is of more technical nature because you have SQL commands and all. 420 is the BPC administration book for NetWeaver. And okay, 430 is for reporting and data load. 440 is for purely consolidation.
Right. So should we, because right now whatever the concepts you taught us is more from the book 430. So
not 430, 420 also. I'll just show you. So we will be covering the topic by topic wise. 4:30 we are covering because in order to understand these topics, we need to see the end result also, example also. That's why we covered 4:30. See, these are more of modeling aspects which we discussed, and then architecture. These some places they are given more technical. No need to understand that much technical details also. Not that much required. And if you see here, we discussed on environment creation, dimensions, models, security we'll discuss later, and then parameters, and then how to log in into EPM add in Excel. Tomorrow we are going to discuss on the data manager, and then logics, and then business flows. Right now we discussed on the validating master data, which we discussed right now.
Right.
So we are going topic by topic wise. This is 420, which is more of an administrative nature. What I can say is a customization. And the end result of customization where we see in the reporting part, that is 430. So in order to understand what we have configured to see the results, so we are doing simultaneously 420 and 430. Okay. Now if you see here, we use report editor, member selection, how we need to do, formatting, multi-sourcing, EVDRE, that is what I said, EPM reporting, and then web client, which we have discussed in our first or second class, web reporting, web input template. Okay. So Word and PowerPoint we need to discuss, business process flows we need to discuss. As I said, distribution and collection is not that much important because we are using the documents in 10 directly. And we discussed on the spread trend weight functionalities, and we discussed on the comment write in today's class. This migration, as I said, if you are having 7.5 to 10 migration, we have to use EVDRE migration option, which I have shown you. So all these things are basically 430 and 420 we are covering simultaneously. 420 is more of administrative nature. 430 is towards the reporting part using the Excel reporting functionalities and all. And 440 is purely consolidation.
Okay. And 410, how much you expect the questions in certification comes from that? Because it looks to be much more technical in nature rather than functional.
Yeah, as I said, MS version and NetWeaver version, the only change that will occur is only towards the data loading, because here we will be loading the data into the cubes. There it will be SSIS, MS cubes. So the data loading functionalities, all those architecture will change. But with respect to MS version, maximum 1 or 2 questions you will get, because SAP itself never suggests to go for MS version. SAP always suggests NetWeaver version because they have to sell their BW also.
Right. Okay. Understood.
But still SAP is providing MS version because there are a lot of clients who are using which is the older version of SAP, that is Outlook Soft, which is a third party product which has been acquired by SAP, and they renamed it as BPC, and they have done so many modifications. So originally Outlook Soft is having on SQL database. So they are already having so many clientele which are using SQL as a database. On top of it, they are using Outlook Soft. So for them, for doing the upgradation, they are supporting the MS version till now. But 10.1 doesn't have Microsoft version. It's only on HANA.
Yeah, Krishna,
so I don't know.
Also heard that SAP is going to stop enhancing the Microsoft version. Is that true? Because if that's the case, that means NetWeaver is the only future for BPC.
Yeah, as far as I understand, they are stopping it, because if you see till 10, they have released both the version, Microsoft, NetWeaver. If you see 10.1, even though it is not fully stabilized version, they are supporting 10.1 only on the HANA database, not on Microsoft database. So if you are going for 10.1, there is no MS version at all. So as far as I know, they might be stopping after 10, okay, whatever is the latest version.
Thanks, Krishna.
No problem. Any other question? Okay. Sposh is having a question. In case of planning, our company wants to plan the initial budget and subsequently if there are any changes, they want to do them through journal vouchers. It is not at all recommended way of doing Sposh. Your solution consultant has to strictly say that it should not be through journal voucher. It should be through a different category that is called a supplementary budget or additional budget. You capture that budget, initial budget in the initial category, and any additional budget in the additional budget or supplementary category. So when you are using the journal voucher, you are hitting the initial budget only. So you are overwriting the initial budget. That is not at all the recommended way. And I don't know who has suggested the using of journal voucher. If it is client, they are not aware of the BPC, so it is not the correct way of handling the BPC system. Because even if you are passing the journal vouchers, you are using the category initial budget only. So if already 100 is there, now you are putting 50, system will overwrite with 50. So when I want to refer back to my original initial budget, what I will do? I don't have information. So it's not at all a perfect practice to use the JVs in the planning. You want to capture the initial budget in a separate category called initial budget, like actual, plan, forecast. You create another category called initial budget and create another category called additional budget. When you are doing the additional budget, choose the category as additional budget. So whenever I want to compare, my initial budget is 100, my additional budget is 110. So my total budget is combination of these two is 110. I hope, Sparsh, I have cleared your question. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, everyone. We'll meet in our tomorrow's class.